Hey, before we hop into this episode, let's talk about why your website and digital presence isn't working. Now, I know what you're thinking. Michael, we talk all about the websites all the time. You talk about the website's a hammer, yada, yada, yada. We get it. But for real, though, it's shocking to me how much guesswork still takes place and how it's having a detrimental effect on what opportunities you are able to leverage. Now, over the last decade, especially for the OG DPBers, you know I've poured my soul into assembling a team that cares deeply about the progress of the retail auto industry, that believes in my mission to enrich and empower dealers to perpetually grow. Now I'm making my amazing marketing team accessible to the Dealer Playbook community so that you can start to thrive rather than merely survive. Right now, we're providing a just for you free website diagnostic that will show you exactly what you need to do in a priority sequence so that you can finally get the answers you need. Claim yours by visiting www.flexdealer.com/website audit. That's www.flexdealer.com/website-audit. Hey there, welcome to this episode of the Dealer Playbook, a podcast that explores what it takes to create a thriving career in the retail auto industry. I'm your host, Michael Cirillo, joined by my pal, Alex Flores, dealer principal, general manager, and founder of AF Consulting. We're talking about leadership and accountability. Have you ever found yourself wondering if there is a true and clear path to success in the car business? I mean, it seems like some people are just on it and popping, while others are just in this perpetual hyperloop of struggle, silos, trying to figure things out. They start to get resentments like, oh, here's another dude on Clubhouse. He's talking about how he made it. Well, I've tried everything and it doesn't work. That's what some people are thinking. And it seems like there's a lot of conversations happening, many of which revolve around the silos that exist between departments. And of course, in recent years, there's been a lot of talk about the importance of culture and leadership within the business. Now, it's something we talk a lot about here on the DPB because I have witnessed firsthand the effect that leadership and culture have on growth. James Cash Penney, founder of JCPenney, said, "Growth is never by mere chance. It is the result of forces working together." My guest today is a force. He's a force to be reckoned with. He's made a name for himself in the industry over the last 26 plus years and has developed processes, procedures, and blueprints that have taken his stores to new levels of success predicated upon leadership and accountability. Alex Flores is the dealer principal and GM of Capital Chevrolet. Now, there's another store in here. Alex, what's the other store?
Seguin Chevrolet.
Seguin Chevrolet. Thank you.
And actually, there's two more stores that I just became a partner of.
That's right. You just made the announcement.
Yes, sir. Bravo Cadillac in El Paso and Bravo Chevrolet Cadillac in New Mexico.
Amazing, man. Congratulations. Well, you are a specialist in helping underperforming dealerships achieve elite status. So my man, Alex Flores, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Well, man, thank you, Mike, for having me. And this is an honor. When you asked if I would be willing to do this was so exciting and again humbling, man. So especially a guy like you, man, who I have mad respect for, man. I love what you do for this industry, and your content is just amazing, man. So thank you for having us,
man. I am delighted, and it's funny that it takes an app like Clubhouse. I'm rolling into the A-Flow show and I'm like, dude's got fire, and I'm like, man, that's awesome. I have to be around individuals like yourself. Like, that's just a mandate in my life, is I got to get around certain people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited that you're here. Now, I want to ask you, just to kick this thing off, let's set the table. I want to learn a little bit more about your journey in the business. 26 years, you're not a spring chicken in the business anymore.
No,
life in the military. I want to express appreciation for that, for your service there. But how did you get started in the business, and how have you gotten to where you are now, owning and being a partner in 4 different rooftops and a consulting firm and all that?
Well, believe it or not, the story is kind of awesome, man, because I used to be a waiter And I've always had a great attitude, man. I've always felt like, my parents, just like I'm sure many parents, everybody listening to this podcast, told me, if you're going to be a trash guy, you got to be the best trash guy out there. If you're going to be a dishwasher, you got to be the best dishwasher. You got to just excel at anything you do. And I always remember that. And I've always been on survival mode, man, because I was homeless at a really early, young age. So what I did is always had this attitude of altitude from the get-go. So I was a waiter. One of the regulars that came into our restaurant was a gentleman that I didn't know at the time, but owned dealerships. And he was my regular, loved me. I always used to upsell him dessert, even after he ate 2 chicken fried steaks by himself. We're in Texas, so that's the thing over here, chicken fried steak. And he said, Alex, I'm stuffed. And I was like, Dave, just take it to go, buddy. I know you're going to be hungry in an hour. And he loved that. And one day he said, Alex, you're wasting your talent. You need to be in the car industry. You could be making a lot of money. And he gave me his business card. I kept it in my pocket literally for 6 months. And one day, my manager at the restaurant, I can't remember what happened, but I wasn't very happy with whatever happened. I said, you know what? I'm out of here. Ironically, the dealership was next door to the restaurant. So I just literally walked over there with ranch on my pants, with gravy on my shirt, and I asked for the owner. And I'll never forget the guy. He had like a bodyguard. He had like a Colby Joyner, except he was a bigger, mean-looking guy, like a mafia guy. He came out and he's like, who are you? And I was like, dude, he's one of my regulars. And anyway, Dave came out. He knew who I was. And he goes, Alex, are you ready? And I said, I'm ready. It was a Friday. The next Saturday, I was selling cars. Wow. And he said, show up here in the morning. This was back in the day where, they did the background and the screening later. They wanted you the next day. They're selling cars. And I was there the next morning selling a car. And I sold my first car ever to the Robinson family. I've sold them 26 cars. Wow. And that means to their kids, to their family. And anyway, man, that's where my career started. And I was a salesperson for many years. And at the time I was still inactive in the military. So I would miss a Saturday every month because we would have to go do drills and I would miss Saturdays. So that would prevent me from being at the top. But as soon as I finished with the military completely and I did my inactive years and I did my service, I was mobilized as well when I was in the car business still. And when I was completely done with the military, that's when I said, okay, I'm ready to take it to the next level. And I started selling 25, 30, 35 cars. And I know nowadays that's nothing from the numbers that I've heard from Frank Cornetti and Ali Rita. Right. Those numbers are like, man, that's nothing. But back then, you were selling 35 cars a month. You were doing something right. And I was consistent. And I just kept getting better and better. And eventually I was promoted to sales management. And then what I did as a sales manager, I wanted to create a bunch of Alex Flores out there. So I said, hey, this is the way I won. And I want to make it just like I was and have the mindset that I had and have the customer service, be obsessed with customer service the way I was and teach you about prospecting and branding. And it just, man, it blew up for me, man. And I was very successful in management. And then I became, of course, a sales director, GSM. I was at a Toyota store with somebody, Chris Martinez, and we sold 1,000 cars a month. We killed them, man. We took that store from 250 to 1,000 cars a month. And somebody reached out to me from a Chevy store and said, Alex, we've been watching you for a long time. We know how good you are. We want you to come with us. And I took a leap of faith, man. I left a very high-paying job, selling 1,000 Toyotas a month, being the number one Toyota store in Texas, to leaving to an underperforming store. And people thought I was crazy. They're like, wait a minute, you leaving a sales director job to be a GSM at a store that's doing terrible for 14 years. Right. And I did, Mike. And man, it was the best move I could have made because we came to the store, we changed the culture, we changed the mindset. We started the accountability that I know we're going to talk about today. And we took that store from 130 cars to 760 cars in a period of 3 years. And then 3 years later, General Motors approached me and they said, Alex, we've never seen an RSI turnaround. That's a sales effectiveness turnaround like we've seen this before. In 23 years that I've been in the business, the guy told me, I've never seen this. So we want to put you on the dealer development program. And so I started that process. I had to do a lot of interviews in Detroit, Dallas, nationals, and I had to go sit in front of the board of directors of General Motors. And long and behold, I was blessed with my dealership in 2019. And I became the dealer principal of Seguin Chevrolet, which is now, we bought it. It was selling 50 cars a month. Now it's selling 450 cars a month. And is the number one Chevy dealer in San Antonio. Wow. Capital Chevrolet, we took it to from number 3 in Austin to number 1 in Texas, number 2 in the nation. My last month there was number 2 in the nation. So I'm really proud of this, man. I missed number 1 in the nation by 11 units, January of 2020.
Challenge accepted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, I love that. And just as I unpack this, as I'm reviewing some of the notes that I'm taking as I listen to you, man, like your career started with a leader seeing something in you, right?
Yes.
For him to be like, hey, man, you're selling yourself short being a server here. Like, I think that's so powerful, especially as I'm sure we will get into leadership by example and the importance of that and the impact that that has. But I'm seeing that. I'm seeing just you also being willing. You know, I remember when I was overcoming severe mental illness in my 20s, one of the most powerful lessons I think I learned was the importance of willingness to learn, willingness to take action.
Yes.
And so I see that in here, like, hey, I'm willing. I have a willing heart. So I see that, an early lesson. And then you saying things like, I mean, your first experience really was setting the stage for understanding the importance of lifetime value of customers. Like you're selling cross generations now, 26 units into a family cross generation, the importance of building relationships of trust. And then, I mean, just your mindset around, I want to replicate my success in others. I've learned that a true measure of success in someone, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, everybody, especially on Clubhouse, right, man? Everybody's an 8 and 9 and 12,000 figure entrepreneur these days. Oh, I did it in 18 months and blah, blah, blah. I love the transparency of, hey, we did this in a 3-year period. And where your mindset is at in that, you know, the humble alpha, the true measure of success is someone who gives freely, wants others to freely have that success as well. They're not holding it back. Oh, there's something, you know, job preservation for Alex as the sales manager, like you give freely. So I just want to give you props, man. I think that's so tremendous. And that is a pattern I think that not enough people have caught onto. And so I'm so excited to be asking you or sitting down and talking to you about this stuff. Now, you brought up the growth in these stores, and that was one of the questions I had. To go from kind of average 50 cars per month or, 30 cars per month, and now you're moving the needle dramatically, triple digit growth kind of a thing. Where do you begin so that those listening can kind of go down the right path? Because I feel like sometimes we'll hear an interview with Alex Flores. Maybe it's out of sequence for us, but we like the subject matter. And then we're like, oh, Alex said this, I got to go do it. And then they're not thinking about all this stuff anymore or how it fits in. So what do you say to those that want to really just feel like they can achieve those types of goals? What path do you set them down to get started?
Absolutely, Mike. And I'm so glad you talked about humility, but I think that's the number one. Be willing to grow, be willing to learn. I have a new partner now. Mr. Raymond Palacios is my new partner at Bravo Cadillac and Chevy in Las Cruces. And the first thing I said, man, you got to read this book. It's called Mindset. And it talks about having a growth mindset versus a fixated mindset. I mean, this guy loved this book. He went and ordered like 100 of them, and he's giving them to everybody he knows. I met somebody he met the other day, or he's known, the lady's running the electric company in El Paso, and she's like, man, Raymond gave me the Mindset book. I love it. It's changing the way I think. So I think the first thing, Mike, to answer your question is to change your mindset and be prepared. So I prepare myself. And you know what I prepare myself for? A challenge. A challenge, because this is what it is. You have to be prepared for a challenge, and you have to prepare yourself for the worst. Nick Saban always says, the first thing I got to do when I take over a team, and I do the same thing, I got to figure out who needs to be on the bus and who needs to be off the bus. To me, that's huge. I got to know I'm going to come in there, and I'm going to set clear expectations from day one. I say this all the time when I take over a dealership, and I've been doing it. This is my 5th dealership that I do this to. And I just said it yesterday, Mike. Ironically, I sat in front of this entire new team that some of them has seen. This is the first time they've seen Alex. Not all of them. They've seen me before because I've been here a couple times. But I told them, I'm not here to see if you like me. I'm here to see if I like you. And what I mean by that is that's the accountability that I bring to the table. That you need to show me, Mike, that you deserve a spot on this team, because this team is going to be amazing. So I think the first thing we have to do is we have to assess the people that we have in our team and be honest with ourselves. Be honest with ourselves as far as, is this somebody that I want to be waiting on my customers? Is this somebody that I want answering my phone calls, answering my leads, taking care of my service customers? And not put the blinders on, because sometimes we tend to do that. Business owners, leaders, we tend to put the blinders on, and we're too afraid to be forthcoming with somebody and telling people the truth. I do Christian ministry, and husbands will come to me and say, man, my wife is leaving me, and she told me that she doesn't want to be with me anymore. And I start asking questions, and I always say, okay, now that I have all the information that I need, do you want me to tell you what you need to hear or what you want to hear? Because if you want to hear what you want to hear, you call the wrong guy. Because I'm going to tell you, Mike, you haven't been listening to your wife. You've been taking her for granted. You're giving yourself too much credit. Okay? You're not being a good husband. You're not giving her what she needs. So I think we need to just be honest with ourselves. I think we need to just assess the situation, be honest with ourselves, assess the team, set the clear expectations, and make sure that the right culture is put in place immediately. From day one, we're going to make 25 calls a day, and that's the way it's going to be. And we're not going to make excuses. I just had a call not too long ago, and they told me about a lady that's been there for a long time. And they said, man, because I had a meeting with them last night. And I said, hey, guys, you came in the first day. You pumped them up. You did a great job. It was our first day. But you didn't set the culture that I want from moving forward. And it needs to be from day one. So sure enough, they called me. They said, man, we have to let this person go because this person's been here for a long time, and she's set on her ways and doesn't want to change. Hey, I hope that doesn't happen, because that's not what we're here to do. We're here to help people. I just had a meeting downstairs with the Cadillac team, and I said, isn't it crazy that even though it's Alex Flores speaking to you with a proven track record, you know what I'm doing, but I still have to spend, Mike, so much time when I could be teaching them how to push to a worksheet, how to coach an offer, how to get a proper now commitment, how to effectively brand themselves, effectively, make a phone call and make an appointment and confirm it. Instead of doing that, I have to spend a third of my time convincing them that this is a good thing, because people don't want change. We have too much ego. We're egotistic in this world. We get offended easily. I always say offense is an action. Offended, that's a decision. You told me earlier today, Alex, I don't get offended. And I love that, because I struggled with that for a long time. And you see, we all have our giant that is holding us back from being successful. And for me, that was one of them. I would get offended easily. Anything anybody said, I would get offended. So I had to overcome that. But anyway, that was a long answer. Sorry, Mike.
No, I want you to keep going. And by the way, I mean, I resonate deeply with that, because offense and insult, I feel like those are baked into my ethnicity, right? I'm an Italian Portuguese hybrid. And it's, for years, it's like, it's like that kind of culture. Like, what are you saying to me? Hey, I'm going to put you to sleep right now. And I realized, I love how you phrased that. It was a giant that had his arms wrapped around me, holding me back.
Yes.
And I just got to a place where, because I had to overcome mental health issues and that sort of a thing, I made a commitment also to myself that I was never going to go back to anything that made me feel that way, see the world that way, et cetera. I had to give up so many fixed beliefs in order to move forward and see the world in its rich abundance, right? There's no lack of there's so much abundance in the world. I want this industry, perhaps it's one of the missions of the podcast, is to connect with individuals such as yourself who also have abundance mindsets, yes. who we need to get this message out to more people. I think of the dealer, the sales professional, the dealership employee I always joke, I say in Dog-Lick, Nebraska, who's sitting there going, man, does it really have to suck this bad? No, it doesn't. There's a big world, an abundant world. Yeah, but I'm only in a market with 5,000 people. Stop. That is a lack mindset. You see the lack. Start seeing abundance. So let me ask you this on this subject matter. What fixed beliefs So we've talked about taking offense and, that sort of thing, a scarcity mindset. What fixed beliefs or limiting mindsets do you observe right out of the gates that as an industry or maybe in your store we need to let go of?
Fixed beliefs that it can't be done, that it's too hard, that it's not possible, that we're on the wrong market, that we don't have enough inventory, just all these lies that we keep telling ourselves, that people don't want to listen, that millennials don't want to really grow. Such a lie. The millennials don't care, that whatever generation, X generation, Z generation is better than the other. That's not true. It's all about being inspired, excited, and grateful, man. If you're inspired, excited, and grateful, it doesn't matter who you put in front of me.
Yeah.
I can make this person a winner, because winners want to be around winners. And when people see you winning, they want a piece of it, man. You can't inspire, excite somebody or make them grateful if you're not inspired, if you're not excited, and if you're not grateful. What makes you think people are going to be like that around you? So you're right, man. I'm on a mission too. And I tell people all the time, I'm on a mission to change people's mindset into having abundant thinking, abundant way of thinking. You're so right, man. I love that. I'm going to steal that one from you, Mike, because I love that. And I talk about that all the time. I always tell people my favorite scripture. I'm a Christian, man, and I apologize if I offend somebody, but I always talk about Romans 12:2. It's in the back of my business card. It's literally on the back of my business card. And everybody I meet, I tell them, do not be conformed by the patterns of this world. Think about all the patterns in this world, a pattern of excuses, a pattern of, oh man, we're getting burned out, a pattern of having employees in our dealerships that don't need to be in our dealerships, a pattern of, in this world, of letting people be dishonest to our customers and allowing that. The guy that wrote Extreme Accountability, it says, hey man, it's not about what you preach, it's about what you tolerate. Or it's not about what you teach, it's about what you tolerate. If we tolerate this type of behaviors and we're conformed by the patterns of this world, then we're going to lose, man. We're not going to grow. We're not going to get the job done. So we need to be transformed by what? The renewing of our mind. Les Brown always said, man, it's going to be hard, but it's possible. I'm a Nick Saban guy, man. I'm a Nick Saban kind of guy. And he wrote 3 books that I love. Number 1, how good do you want to be? How good do you want to be? So that's my question to everybody today. How good do you want to be? But I want you to think about that. I want you to think the word of resonate, man. Let it resonate with you and ask yourself, really, how good do I want to be? And do I know what it looks like to get better? Because if nothing changes, right? We hear that all the time. Book number 2, trust the process. Nick Saban's a believer in the process. You got to trust the process. Trust the process. Believe in the process. Man, defend that process with your life. The process needs to be done every single time. That's how he wins championship after championship. Nobody can beat that guy. He's a beast. He's a car guy too, and I love that guy. And book number 3, every day is 4th and goal. Every day is 4th and goal. You got to bring it every single day. Not just on the last day of the month. Not just on the 15th before you get your draw. Okay? Not just on the first week because you just had a baby and you're excited and you just came back from a two-week vacation and you're fired up, or you just got back from the Bahamas and you're just like, man, I had a great time and you feel good. No, every day it's 4th and goal, even when I'm feeling depressed, even when I'm tired, even when I didn't sleep good because my kid kept me up all night, even when my wife just told me she's thinking about divorcing me. Every day is 4th and goal, period, end. I don't make excuses, man. I don't like excuses.
Yeah. I love it. What I'm really picking up here too is, as the leader, you have to set clear expectations, or else don't get annoyed when your expectation that you didn't set or verbalize or share wasn't met. And we see that a lot, like the lack of communication in the industry, and not just the industry, but any organization. As you go into consult businesses, I bet you first thing you can see is the lack of communication. When I do the same thing, lack of communication, and it's staggering. It's not just mom and pop shops. It is, I've sat at tables in Fortune 500s in Europe with 9 C-level C-suite executives who weren't communicating with each other, and it was causing so many challenges. But they're also not setting expectations. I spoke to a dealer owner, partner and GM of a store yesterday, and she was frustrated because her and her partners are misaligned, and some of her team members are misaligned. And you brought up like who needs to be on the bus and who doesn't. You also mentioned some of the criteria for that, which I thought was really inspiring. You didn't once mention that they get to stay on the bus because they're a high volume producer.
No.
You didn't once say that. And she's experiencing this firsthand, where a toxic individual that's on the bus because the partner brought them from another store is, even though this individual is toxic, they're kind of bolted into place because they have volume.
Yes.
And you didn't once mention that. Why is that not on your list?
Because to me, it's not about how many cars you sell. To me, it's attitude, character, professionalism, teamwork, because those are the things that build a company, make a company successful. Because you can have somebody who sells a lot of cars, who produces a lot for your business, but it's a cancer to your business. It's not following the culture. It's not following the process that you have. Therefore, this person is affecting so many other people. They're not taking care of customers the way you think. They're just, why would you want somebody in your company who it's all about themselves? You see, I always tell people, don't pray for a blessing. Pray to be a blessing. I want people in my company to be a blessing to our customers. I want people in my company to be a blessing to coworkers. I want people to help one another, to lift one another, to encourage one another. Don't give them a handout, give them a hand up. And if you create that type of culture, guys, there's no secret to success. Success is very simple. I used to have a little thing of secret sauce in my drawer because people always come and ask me, Alex, what's the secret sauce? And I still have it. I send you a picture of it, and it says secret sauce on it, because there really is no secrets. There is no, and you said that earlier. You said, Alex, I see a lot of people that want to hold on to things. And, I'm going to have to give Frank Lopes credit for this one, because he told me about a few years ago, because I said, Frank, do I really want to start doing, sharing all my secrets with everybody? And he said, Alex, stop. There is no secrets, man. Everything that you're saying, everybody knows. The problem is execution, because information without execution is just information. Information with execution, now that's transformation.
Yeah, and it reminds me of something I heard along these lines. That execution, implementation, that is the differentiator. And you can go about implementation in one of two ways. You can accelerate it by bringing people into your proximity who have forged the path already and have achieved success, or you can figure it all out on your own. And it reminds me of that saying. I'm trying to think of it now. It's who, what, when, and why for free, implementation for a fee.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, people can sit here and listen to the podcast all day long, but if they really want that golden nugget, going back full circle to where we started, which is, you're wondering why some people experience the success, the Ali Rettas, the Frank Crinitys, the Alex Floreses, the Glenn Lundys, the, whoever. You wonder why they do it is because they figured out the implementation.
Yes.
And so I guess the last thing where I just want to, last question before we wind this down. I could go for hours with you, man. I love your energy. How do we get, you said you spend a third of your time as a leader basically getting everybody on the same page as far as mindset, convincing them, I think is what you said, convincing them that this is the right thing to do. So how do we navigate that with all of the plates? We're all spinning so many plates. Leaderships are trying to do we're trying to do all of these things. Managers, they're trying to do all of these things. They've got so many plates spinning. Pressure hot, it's a pressure cooker. How do you, I guess, quantify that time spent when maybe the outcome isn't something that can tangibly be seen on a P&L?
Prioritize, man. What's the most important thing to you? And to me, it's culture. To me, it's customer service. To me, it's my people. Because people will either make or break a business. So why wouldn't I make that the number one thing on my list? I mean, anybody can count money, but making money, that's a different story. So why would I sit there and spend my time running reports and looking at my bank statements and looking how much money I have in the bank? I need to make money before I start counting money. And the only way I'm going to make money is by changing the culture of my business, by spending time with my people, by inspecting what I expect. I have to do that on a daily basis and holding people to accountability levels that I hold myself accountable. I always ask leaders this, man. I said, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself when it comes to professionalism, skill level, appearance, attitude, teamwork, all these qualities? And they always say, they know it's me asking Alex Flores, so they know better. So they never tell me a 10, but they'll tell me 8. They'll be like, I'm an 8. I had one person. I've asked this question hundreds of times. One person said a 9, and I try really hard not to laugh at them because I don't give myself a 9. I give myself a 7 if I'm lucky. Right. But this person said 9, and I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is actually comical. But anyway, they all say 8. Almost every one of them will say 8. You can try this yourself and you watch. They'll say 8. And then I say, okay, great. I agree with you. Because some of them I do know, and I agree. You're an 8. You're close to it. I'll say, okay, now I want to ask you another question. When it comes to your team, when it comes to the people you lead, the people under you, in your dealership, in your business, when it comes to professionalism, skill level, appearance, punctuality, all the things that I ask, when it comes to all that, what would you grade your team? And without a fail, Michael, they all say 6. I don't know what it is about it, but they all say 6. And I ask them, okay, so let me get this straight. You mean to tell me that it's okay for you to be an 8, but your team be a 6? How is that even possible? How could you call that leadership? See, because to be a leader, you got to be a great follower. You want to know why people don't do follow-up under you as a leader? Because you don't believe in follow-up. Because believe me, if you did, they would be doing follow-up.
Right.
You might say it because it sounds good. Hey, guys, go out there and do your follow-up. You know follow-up is really, you don't truly, because if you truly believe in follow-up, everybody and their mama would be doing follow-up.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Including you.
They get what you put out.
Man, amazing. Alex Flores, man, this has been incredible. How can those listening get in touch with you?
They can go to, they can listen to my podcast, AFC podcast, or they can reach out to me, afdealerconsulting.com. And, man, look me up on Facebook, Instagram. What is it, Colby? Chevy Dealer or Seguin Dealer? Seguin Dealer? Seguin Dealers, SEGUIN Dealer.
We will link everybody up in the show notes at www.thedealerplaybook.com/Alex-Flores. My man, thanks so much for joining me on the Dealer Playbook podcast.
Thank you so much, Mike. It was a pleasure, man. Thank you so much, man. God bless you, buddy.
Thank you. Likewise. I'm Michael Cirillo, and you've been listening to the Dealer Playbook podcast. If you haven't yet, please click the subscribe button wherever you're listening right now. Leave a rating or review and share it with a colleague. If you're ready to make big changes in your life and career and want to connect with positive, nurturing automotive professionals, join my exclusive DPB Pro community on Facebook. That's where we share information, ideas, and content that isn't shared anywhere else. I can't wait to meet you there. Thanks for listening.